Okay, so this is my testing video to test my entire program. Awesome. So this is my trading simulator. I'm going to be referring to my test plan throughout it. This is just on my write-up. And let's see how it goes. So, test number one. So basically I wanted to start very quickly with the candle generation because I haven't quite timed the candles right. Well, as in, I haven't selected a fast time. You'll see when I'm doing it, but I haven't selected a fast enough time period. So I'm going to start with it so that I can then swap it to a realistic time that I can use for testing. So the candle generation, you can see test number one over there. Feel free to read it. So I'm going, let's keep it half screen. So this is the responsible code. I've already got it open. So basically what we're saying is if it's frozen, then returns and just don't do anything because that will freeze the graph and get us out of the loop. And then we've got the relative time here. So we're increasing that because I generate the candles at 100 milliseconds. So if I go to my other timer, which is not that one, it is just here. Oh, I only need to go up. So that's the 100 millisecond interval for like the rate at which the candles are actually changing. So yeah, there's that, and then it converts this little time frame in seconds, converts it into seconds from the graph interval because the click is if we just go, I don't want that. If we go to 30 seconds, the click events, it should be around here. Yeah, there we go. So it's all in minutes. I should technically remove these three because I don't need them because they're API, but it's not ruining my code, so I've kept them in just for logic's sake. But here you go, 30 seconds is 0.5 minutes. Cool. So if I now run the program, I'm going to get a little timer up on my phone. If it loads, here we go, we're getting there. There we go. I'm not sure what this is. It's kind of annoying down here, but that's fine. So here's the candle generation. It's just generating at 100 milliseconds. That's 0.1 seconds up and down. So if I now click the 30-second one, it should already be going. So we'll time it from when it moves for the first time. You're just going to have to be patient here while I show you how these work, because you can't really speed up time. So there we go. If I click it, so we started at 17. I'm just going to write that down before I forget it. So we started at 17. And we will wait and see how long we go. And then the second it moves across, I'll click the 1 minute to speed up the testing for us. Okay, so that's moved across at 44. So that was the 30-second. So now we're waiting on the 1 minute one. I won't test the full 5 minute one because we're going to be here for ages, but I'll just show you that it runs over for a minute. And it will indeed work. So yeah, we're just going to be testing a load of different things throughout this, showing you that everything works. I would speed this up, but I think it's kind of important to show that the code does actually work, and I don't think there's a better way to show it than just manually doing it like this. So sorry about the wait. But testing the other things should be pretty quick, which is nice. Oh, I hope I haven't missed it. I think I missed it. So it moved left at 36, so almost a minute. So obviously it's gone from 44 to 36 for the 1 minute, which is pretty accurate. And that's obviously generated here. So I've already clicked the 5 minute one. So we should expect that after a minute and a half has passed, I'm just gonna exit the program because we know it works. So we'll do that, and I will reset the timer so that we can get faster generation and actually move on with the other testing. I really hope the audio is clear because it wasn't the best in some of the previous ones. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. So that's about 1 minute and 20 seconds has passed since the last one. So hopefully that shows that the timer is indeed working, and I've just run through the code as well to show you. So that is the timer. So let's go directly to it. So start new candle timer. Cool. Where are we? Here. So that shows the buttons move, the buttons all work, so that's perfectly fine for the random generation. Where am I looking? So the relative time is less than the time frame. So let's change this to 1 second. Yes, let's change it to 1 second. So now on to number 2, where the time frame of 15 minutes above should retrieve an API data call. This used to work in my project, but then I wasn't actually able to do anything with it. And yes, there you go, that's working for the 1 second. But it didn't actually do anything in terms of, like, I couldn't do anything with it. So if I just show you, if I click a stock and then I click the 15-minute time frame, my program does just crash. I tried solving it and it just doesn't work. So it used. I'll show you in my documented design in a minute. But I was able to retrieve all the data, get it onto the graph. But once it was on the graph, I couldn't remove it. Like, I couldn't press any of my buttons. I couldn't change the time frame. I couldn't change the stock. Like, these are the buttons up here to change the stock. And when I click them, obviously nothing's happening at the moment because I don't have a... like, the time frames don't work. So all 3 of these time frames should work. But whenever I click them, the project just crashes. So unfortunately, that feature does not work. However... So yeah, number 2 was unsuccessful. However, if I go on to number 3, so that's clicking the different stock options. So just to show you that these work, if I go to MSFT, where's the button? Button click. If we, what have I done there? Let's get rid of that. If I just do a simple message box dot show of computing, this should showcase that the buttons actually work. So while number 2 doesn't work, you are actually able to swap between the buttons, but once again, that isn't actually very useful. Yeah, I mean, it isn't. Is that recording? Yeah, cool. 9 minutes all day. Okay. So that isn't actually very useful at the moment because it doesn't do anything. So now we're just going to go through all of my buttons, okay? So this is quite simple. We're just going to go through them, show you that everything works. So we're going to start with, I believe, the cursor button. So that's this one up here. So you click on it, it offers you a drop down. You can change your cursor to a cross, or you can change it to a hand, or you can change it to an arrow. That's very simple. That works nicely. The paintbrush button, once again, there's no input in these, so I'm kind of just going to whiz through them to show you that they work. There's not really much more thoroughness that I can do. They either work or they don't. The paintbrush buttons, that's red and green at the moment, so this is going to change the candle color. So now if I select purple and yellow, it instantly swaps. So yellow is representing the red candles, and then purple is representing the green ones. If I change the black and blue, it will instantly swap, and all of these stay the same, which is nice, so you can see the different colors, show you that it works. And then if I want, I can also go back to red and green. So that's just a nice feature. If someone's colorblind, visually impaired, they can choose whatever they want, which is good. For the next feature, we have the pencil button. So this was one of the harder ones I had to code because obviously I haven't done anything like this before. I don't like that, so let's just change that to a hand, sure. So when you click on it, you should have three options for like the width of the line, or the thickness of the line, I guess. And this was kind of hard to code because you have to do like the mouse click down, the mouse moving, and then the mouse click up to activate the line and remove it. But once I got the hang of it, it wasn't too bad, and it was quite useful as well because later on in my program, I've used a lot of the mouse movement for some of my different tools. So that's useful. So here, just circled here, you can see the three different mouse thicknesses of the line, and they allow you to draw wherever, which is a nice feature. And then you can just remove it by clicking again. As I click down now, it's not working, which is perfect. So moving on to the tools button. So I'm not going to go through all the tools just yet, but as you see, you click on it, you get a drop down using a combo box, and you're able to choose one of these. I'm not going to click on them just yet because I'll save that for later in testing, because I need to do it quite thoroughly. But that's just showing you that the drop down actually works when you click the tools button just here. Next, we have the long position. So this is this one just here, and this is more of a practice tool. So like I said, I've reused the mouse movement events that I use for the pencil. I've used them quite a lot throughout, just copying and pasting the code, which is quite nice. Makes it a lot easier. But it creates a long position tool, so that's where you've got green on the top, red on the bottom. And it's really important that these sliders work. So this allows you to change the ratio, and then you can also change the width of it as you like. So you can go all the way across, you can go all the way down, you can change it as you like. Move it about, change the ratio, and that's all the features you need with the long tool, which is nice. Then you've got the same for the short tool, so it's got red on the top and green on the bottom. It's essentially the same code, just with red on the top and green on the bottom, really. I'm pretty sure I've used a position box class. Let's just find it. Position box, where are we? Yeah, there you go. So we've used the method create position box, and then we've just flipped about the colors just here. And if I find, oh, that's because I've got 4 in there. That's the movement. We don't want that. We want the create position box. So we've basically made it with a grid with the top rectangle, which will be this one, the bottom rectangle, and then the divider in the middle, as you see here. The resize handle is this little grey circle, which people can use to just drag it about and change the size, which is what you want, so that the tool can be used properly. And then that's just set in the starting position, sets the Z index so it appears in front of the candles because we don't want it behind. And then I've also made it a bit translucent so that you can see through it. That's just attaching all the event handles, and then here are the actual event handles that gets the position of your mouse when it's first. Oh, hello. Let's not do that. So this gets the position. Oh, there we go. This gets the position of your mouse when you first start So put it down and then you're moving it about, it tracks the mouse there. I've used this quite a lot, using the point, especially when I'm using my graph lines, because that helps me map the coordinates, which was quite nice. And yeah, just some simple logic there, which I've reused. So that's showing the short position and long position work. Okay, so now moving on to number 10, the curved trend line. So this, oh, hello. Let's not do that. This was a little bit shaky. So if I click it, it adds on a supposed curved trend line onto the graph. However, as you can see near my cursor, this does not look very curved. But then you come around here, and it looks a lot more curved in these flatter sections up here. So we've got a nice curve up here, and then it goes jagged whenever the price is volatile, which is not what you want. But I was unable to find a better solution, and I spent quite a lot of time on this as well, and it's not really a big feature of my program. So yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't quite work. It somewhat works, but not all the way. So let's just go to the code for this. So curved trend line, there we go. That's the symbol, that's the path, declaration, there's the button for it. Yes, that's just saying when it's clicked, activate it to be true or false, and then remove it if needed. Let's go through all of that. Okay, so this is what we want. So I basically use Bezier curve segments to plot the logic of the curve, really, the trend line. And that's because I found this on Stack Overflow. So when I was researching how to do a curved line, I'd only ever done straight ones before, or spiky ones really, which go from point to point, up and down, up and down. Like a bit like this, so up and down, up and down. So yeah, I had to find the curve logic, and it looked like Bezier curve segments was the best option from what I researched. I know there is a better way, but I just couldn't be able to find it. So basically, it takes two previous points. So it takes the current point and then the previous one, as we've got here. So we're doing it as a path to find the way, so it draws the line between the points. And then we also calculate the midpoint here. So that takes the y values and the x values and just divides them by 2 to get the midpoint, just as you would in any other coordinate or vector. And then it maps that midpoint as a certain point, and that point is actually called a control point. I should probably annotate that on. But just there, that's called a control point. So that is where the actual curve goes around. So what happens with the Bezier curve is we have a point here, a point here, and a point here. What happens is the curve goes like this and maps two curves between the points, which is why when you see for here example, let's get a thicker line so that you can see. But between this one here, if you just track my mouse, it actually goes, instead of drawing a curve between them like that, it goes on top of it, drawing a curve like that. And that's, yeah, there's a great example as well. That's because I would want it just to go like that and then a nice little sine wave. But instead we're going all the way up, which is not ideal, but it's a partial solution. It's the best one I could get. So that is how my curved trend works. Yeah, and this is the offset is basically, it was that curve that I showed you. So it's where it goes up and down. So that's the offset from the control point in the middle. So the control point would be about here, and that's the offset to do one curve and then the other curve. Yeah, just like this one. There you go. But yeah, that's just saying that the offset should never be flipping around. It should always be it should always be on the nice way so that we don't get these random curves. But still, it's not a perfect implementation. So there you go. Oh, there's a little typo. Let's change that. Yeah, so that's the control point using the middle values and the offset. And then there's the quadratic Bezier segment, but it doesn't quite work. And that's drawing the actual path. Okay, so let's now move on to the spiky trend line. So this one was a lot easier to code. So that's just going from midpoint to midpoint. We're just doing a nice straight line, as you can see, which was nice and easy. Oh, look at that. We've got a nice flat one just there. Yeah, so that's the, if we go to, that's the method for when the button gets clicked, but we want the actual method that draws it. Yeah, here we go. So for each candle in the list, in the candle rectangles, we're literally just adding the points to the graph, and then we draw it later on in one of the other methods. That's just saying whether it's active or not, return it, and then it gets the center and draws the spiky trend line. Nice and simple. There's nothing really to test there. So that's the spiky trend line. And now let's go to, how long are we doing? Okay, 22 minutes, not too bad. So the flag button, okay. So the flag button, nice and simple. So we click it, we get a little drop down, and it simply adds an image to the canvas. Whether you click red, whether you click green, just adds the image. You can move it about. I've just used the exact same logic as all the other ones, and I made sure to set the Z index on top of the other, well, nice and high, so it goes on top of the other candles. So that's good, that works, that's nice. There's nothing really to test there. And then the text box, so you click it, a text box should appear. You're able to move it. If I get my cursor right, there we go, that's nice. Oh, hello, you're gonna let me move you? Oh, you need to get it right in the right position, which is a bit annoying sometimes. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to type in here, blah, 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 blah. So, so actually if I keep typing, it will resize it, or give me a little drop down, scroll down. That's just part of the text box. And then resizing it using the same handle that I used before. I can't move it right now, but it goes nice and wide, nice and low. Just using the handle that I used before, which is nice. Okay, what's next? So now we're actually testing the tools. Okay, so this is where we're going to need some input data. So let's start with the pitch fan. So the pitch fan is one of my tools here. So you go down on the drop down and you click pitch fan. So you'll get a prompt saying the Fibonacci levels, please select the first point, so the peak or the low. So let's put a point down here. It should put a nice little X for me. Put the second point, which is going to be another peak, or the opposite. And then it draws a pitch fan between these points, correlating to the fib ratio. So if I get the pitch fan up, our fib ratios are just here, and you can see those lines drawn here. So if I actually change these, then we should, so if I change these now, and yeah, let's change these. So let's just go for oh, hold on, I want to write these down first, so I don't remember them. 0.382, 0.5, 0.618, and 1.0. So if I change these to this, then hopefully, let's stop the code. Let's rerun it. We should see that the Fibonacci pitch fan is a lot shallower. If my code will load, which would be nice. So let's go pitch fan, let's go to the bottom, let's go to the top, and as you can see they're a lot shallower. So that proves that they work, which is nice. Let's Control Z all of that. There we go. So just running through the pitch fan. So that's just the top of the graph. We always want to make sure that the distance is positive. So this is drawing it downwards. So depending on whether it's above like the middle Y that I don't know why I've stopped the program. Let's run that back up. Let's get my code up. Okay, so depending on whether it's above like the halfway value here, it will either draw it downwards or draw it upwards. Let's just show you. I don't know what I'm doing. So if we go, I need to cancel that first. And then if we go down, then we're drawing it downwards because it's above halfway. Oops. Okay, let's just get rid of that. And then if we go below halfway, so we go down here, as you can see, it draws it up, which is quite nice. So that's what that does. Makes it go in the right direction. Those are just the colors, little array to do that. Yeah, pretty simple stuff really. I've made sure to tag it so that I can remove it later on, and then we're just using coordinates and the simple line, which didn't take too long to code, which is nice. So the next one is, that's the pitch fan. Let's try speed up a little bit here. So these are the GAN angles. So let's just try that out. So the GAN angles, you click it, you get the prompts. That's the 1x1, the 2x1, and the 1x2. So that's the different gradients. So you select your point. Once again, if it's above halfway, it'll draw it downwards. If it's below halfway, then you'll get that. And these are drawn at a 30 degree, a 45 degree, and a 60 degree for the corresponding, like, that's 1x1, that's 1x2, that's 2x1. And just to prove that these work, if we go to GAN angle, I'm pretty sure that's what the method's called. Yeah, draw GAN angles. It's pretty much the same logic here as the pitch fan, but with a slight change in that we have the three different colors, because we got 1x1, 2x1, and then 1x2. They've all been tagged again, and that's just copy and pasting down there. So here is the gradients of the line. So we've got that's for the 1x1, so that's a 1 gradient. So that's going to be the 45 degree one. And then that's just saying if we're drawing it downwards, go positive, and then if we're drawing it, go negative, just like you would on a graph with y equals minus x. So just to show that these values actually work, this is just going to be my 1 by 1. Let's change it to something extreme like 5.0 and 5. So this should mean that the middle line goes really really strict, really I don't know what the word is now. I'm losing my words. It is really sloped, really steep, that's the word. There we go. So that should be the green line in the middle. There you go. So it used to be here, if I just draw it on, used to be here at 1 by 1 with y equals x, and now it is up here with y equals 5x due to the little implementation I just made. So that shows that works, which is nice. And then we're moving on to the Fibonacci retracement. This was quite a simple one. So if I... Oh, what have I done there? That's the spiral. Oh, okay, no worries. So if we go on the Fibonacci retracement, so we go for a high point, let's say we go here, and then we go for a low point, let's say we go here, then we're getting our ratios, which is quite nice. 23.6, 38.2, 6 to 1. And those are just our fib ratios, and they show if it hits those, then it's likely to show support or resistance in one of the areas. However, obviously I'm using random candle generation, so the actual support and resistance levels don't really work because it's all random. You can't predict anything with a random calculator, can you? So there's that. Let's just find... Oh, have I gone past it? Where is it? Oh, there we go. Draw Fibonacci retracement between. So that's just mapping out the graph once again. That's making sure we're using all the values between the high and the low, because these just use the maximum decimal value. So it's like infinity between the high and the low represented here, so that it can be anywhere in there. Yeah, once again, that's just mapping it out, showing the difference, and then this is the Fibonacci ratios. So just like I changed it in the other one, I could change it here. It's the exact same. Yeah, and then this adds the fib labels onto it using label. I've used label quite a lot. I found it to be quite nice. I was researching and I found label grid. The pop-up was a nice one. That was using a window pop-up for my news function. And there was one more, but I can't remember what it is. But they were quite nice to experiment with, and I've used a couple ones throughout my program just to show that I can use them all. So that's adding it. It's pretty simple. There's nothing really to show testing-wise there. The Fibonacci retracement. So here we go. Here's the fib spiral now using... Okay, we're at 34 minutes. That's fine. So we're at... the Fibonacci spiral. Where's my program? There we go. So this is using polar coordinates. So you're prompted to select the center of the spiral. So typically you place it at a high, and then it produces the spiral, and when it touches the spiral, that's like an area of support or resistance. But obviously it doesn't work like that because we're using random. So I'm pretty sure here I've used, well, I'm not pretty sure I did use the growth rate and the golden ratio to actually decide the spiral. I got the feedback, and I got the feedback from Mr. Span, and he said that it would have been useful if it was bigger. And I do agree with him, or maybe it should be able to move it about, because once it's there, you can't move it. I also don't know why I haven't changed the Z index to go in front. Alright, let's have a look. Draw Fibonacci spiral. Yeah, I haven't. Okay, well, we will sort that out later. But I also have a scaling factor, so it's normally, well, the polar coordinates is r equals k theta for a spiral. But instead we've got r equals k theta to the power of the growth rate, because I wanted to use the golden ratio and just make it a tiny bit harder. So that's not very easy to see. We've got k, which is the scaling factor, to the power of the growth ratio. So that's what our spiral is just there. So here, that's using system windows.shapes just to properly identify it and distinguish it. So if we change the growth rate to, let's go 0.1, and let's show the effect this has. So being 0.1, it should go out a lot slower, as in the spiral should not be as concise, if you know what I mean. Oh, it's going to be twice as concise. Oh, yes, of course, because to the power of... yes, because if you have theta to the power of 0.1, it's going to get a lot smaller, which is why we have this. That's what I was thinking of. And then the scaling factor, if we change this to 10, that will make the overall size of the spiral just a lot bigger in general, which I believe is what Mr. Span was talking about, which is a simple fix and something I probably could have added before I gave it to him. But, oh well. Yeah, so there you go. That's a lot wider. So let's change that now, actually. Let's go for 4. Cool. That's the number of rotations. So saying 4 theta, because we've got 2 pi in radians. Why is my program running? So we have 2 pi is 1 full way around. So if you do 4 pi, it's going to go round for 2 whole spins. So if we, where are we going? Yeah, that's the growth rate. So you see it goes round once, that's 2 pi, and then round again, that's 4 pi. If we changed it, then it would go all the way around again, and it would end up off the screen because it's so big. But that's what math, or the pi gets the pi value, and then we just times it by a constant. And then, yeah, this is turning it from polar into Cartesian. So your normal polar coordinate is going to be r theta, and you actually want it in xy. So you have x equals r cos theta, and y equals r sine theta. So you get r equals y cosec theta, and r equals x sec theta, which is what that statement is doing just there. Yeah, and then it just adds the spiral, gives it a tag, and make sure that it can be removed from the list if needed. Oh, let's keep that. So there you go. Here was my, I forgot to add this earlier, but here was my API class. I didn't really cover it because obviously it doesn't work, but it's all in my documented design. Oh, I didn't show you the documented design of the, okay, let's do that now. Let's just skip back to it. Documented design. Here we go. So this was the explanation for it, and I was able to scrape the data here. Let's make that a bit bigger. So we're getting the data there, and then I got it onto a graph, which you can see there. And then once I had it in the graph, I got it onto my UI. And then I got it inside the bounds, and then I got it to be centered in the middle. But like I said there, it just did not work after that because I couldn't do anything, which was really annoying. But that's how it goes. Okay, so now we've done all the tools. Let's use the bin button. So I've already used it a lot during this time. Oh, I need to get rid of that. There we go. But let's just show you. Here's some features we're adding. There's one of the lines. There's another line. There's both lines on there. There's a red flag. There's a text box. There's two text boxes. Here's a green flag. So let's just show you that the bin button works. So, ta-da! As you can see, it removes everything. I've basically done this using, if I go to bin, I did this using tags because it didn't work when I didn't use tags. That's not what I want. Have I gone past it? Yeah, there we go. So I did it creating a list of elements to remove. You see that quite a lot throughout my code. And then we're removing the X's, which are used to draw the different tools. We removing the polylines, the path lines. So that was for my curve line with the path, and then the polyline for my straight line. And then yeah, the Fibonacci tools, the Gann angle, pitch fan, blah blah blah. And then this was also saying about the Z-index, just to make sure that the tools are getting removed. So if the Z-index is high, then the tool gets removed, whereas if the ZX is low, then the tool doesn't get removed. Because the Z-index is what makes it go in front. And then this is just removing all the other different elements here. Yep. So, I wonder if we actually need this. Well, let's try it. I mean, if the because all my Z-index are above 900, so if we just go 30, I wonder if the bin button still works. Because if it's labeled Fibonacci, but the Z-index is 900, will this work? Let's test it. That's what this is for. So if I add a Gann angle just here, a Fibonacci spiral, yeah, it does still remove it. Cool. So maybe I don't need this, but we'll keep it in there for now. There you go. Redundant. So, but I need the Z-index in there anyway, so it goes on top, so that's fine. Anyways, number 19, the rubber button should work. So this was another one where I've used the elements to remove list and all of the tags to make sure that it removes everything apart from the candles. So the candles should not be removed. So let's add some things to the graph. Let's Let's go you, let's go you. Let's get a couple more on there. Don't want too many. There we go. And let's add some indicators because this is one of the better features. Yeah, let's go 5. Cool. So if I click the bin button, which I won't at the moment, but it doesn't actually remove the indicators, which is completely fine. I didn't want it to. But the rubber button is able to remove the indicators along with all the other elements. And as you can see, it does not remove the candles, which is nice because we want those bad boys to stay. Cool, moving on to the next one. So the freeze button, yes, this was very simple to implement. If I just go to the freeze, I'll show you how simple it was. Because all we do is, oh, it's frozen, isn't it? It is frozen. It is frozen. Yeah, so that's just sending it's either true or false. But then, if it's frozen, we simply exit the timer. So it just stops doing it. So as you can see, if I click the freeze button, boom, the timer stops, graph candles stop, and then it resumes. If I keep pressing it, stop, start, stop, start. Which made it so much easier when I was coding the live tool and the paper tool, because I was able to freeze the tool in place, which was perfect and something that I needed. So I'm really glad I did that towards the start. Okay, we're getting quite long now, so let's wrap it up. So the news button, this is nice and simple. You click, oh, let's start the graph again. So you click the news button, a little pop-up shows up, and if you click on the link, it should take you to Bloomberg Markets. There you go. It takes you there, and that works for all the other ones. That's useful information if someone wants to use it, and all the different things like that. So this was one of the different... Oh, I do actually want to show you that was one of the different things I researched, because I was thinking of using a message box, but one, that's boring, and two, it was not interactive, so I used the window news pop-up equals new window. Obviously that's just a variable, but... And then the stack, oh, that was it. The stack panel is such a lovely thing because it arranges it in the middle. So as you see, it's all centered and it's below one another. It's in a vertical stack panel, which is so nice. Yeah, because I didn't just want the other things in a line, as that's horrid. Not very nice to read. That's just displaying it all. And there you go, there's the prompt, there's the text block that was used for the balance as well. So there you go, that works. Oh, this was one of my favorite things. I'm very proud of this. So the market predictor, we're going to spend a little bit of time on this because I enjoyed it. So the market predictor tool is down here, and oh, I need to, let's just reset you. So the market predictor tool, the reason I'm resetting it is because you'll see as we do it. So I click it and it gives me a line down here. So every time I click it, it gives me a forecast for the market. And this is calculated using geometric Brownian motion. So you see so it's going up, down, blah, blah, blah. But as time goes on, you'll see that it goes volatile using log returns for the average price of what we've got here, which is why it's going down at the moment, because the graph is going down. But you'll see that because of this, because we got so low here, it levels off really soon down here, because it basically uses an exponential I'll just show you the code. I don't know why I'm explaining it. So if we go market predictor, no? Oh, right, GBM. Yeah, so we're calculating the log returns, which is like the drift value. So the GBM uses like a drift value, and it also uses standard deviation. So we need to get the squared difference because it's the EX squared minus E to the X squared. So the squared, the means of the squares minus the mean squared. So I'm saying like that. But EX squared minus E to the X all squared in brackets. That's just the time. I just use dt because differential equations. That's the number of candles it takes in. And then the Box-Muller was something that you need to add. So I didn't actually notice that I needed to add this until I was doing some research online. And it was saying that you need this method because the Z is used in normal distribution, and you need the normal distribution to be able to work with your GBM predictor. Yeah, and then this line is literally just using the formula, which I've done in my analysis. So that uses the GBM formula, and then we tag it, and then we're plotting the different points. So there we go. Here we're plotting the points for all of the different steps and candles in our graph, and then we add the line, and then that's just saying remove it when needed. So yeah, and then obviously this is using your standard normal distribution using the formula. There's nothing really to test there. It just is what it is. The standard normal using a formula. You can't change it, can you? So yeah, this took me a long time to figure out. But eventually, after about probably 6 hours of just sitting here coding this one method, well, two methods if you include Box-Muller, we finally managed to get something. But obviously with the log returns, they become exponentially small and infinitesimally small. So we've got a tiny little bump down here, but it's so insignificant that it all just rounds off, and that's all from the start where the candle came right down here. So that is the market predictor, which I'm quite proud of. So let's move on to... Okay, yeah, so we're almost done. We've just got the indicators and then the actual trade execution. So let's start with the indicators. So we're on number 23 now. So the indicators, if we go for the simple moving average, so if we just go for 5 candles, so that's the most recent 5 candles, so that you can see, so it basically marched from this red one and down here. So as you can see, it goes up, we're going down, it goes back up, it goes back down, we go right up to this peak up here where that red candle was, which is why we're going so high up here. So there is the simple moving average. Let's just show you the code for that one. SMA. Oh yes, that was the prompt using the case statement, and then draw SMA. Oh yeah, this is a little bit of code that I found on Stack Overflow, and it basically means that when the indicator is selected, it does this in the brackets, which was like the tag that I used. So that was a nice bit of code from Stack Overflow that I found, which was quite useful and made it very simple. Draw SMA. So, yeah, I mean the SMA is quite simple. It's just a simple moving average. I haven't put it in front of the candles either. I should probably add that. I didn't realise. Okay. Let's do that. So, where was I? Yes, so we're calculating the sum of the closing prices. I did have some notes about... Yes, in a more volatile market, the SMA line will be spikier, and in less volatile, it will be flatter. So, oh, perfect. Let's use it now. So, okay, sure, getting standard deviation. So this is a very volatile market right now. So if we just go for 30, as you can see, we are going all the way up, we're going down, this is very volatile, and we're going very, very spiky, because we're going up, down, up, down, up, down, whereas if it was flat, not flat, if it was less volatile, we'd have a much flatter line with less movement. So, oh yeah, it doesn't move that one. So that is the SMA, and then the next one is the EMA. Well, this is going to be very volatile as well. Yep. So that's taking all the prices that we've just used, and yeah, I mean, this is taking the candles from the start. Yeah, this is taking the candles from the start of execution, because I think I forgot to put in a value for the period, which is fine. But it's been a very volatile market, so it's going up and down, which is expected when you're using random candle generation. So that is the SMA and the EMA. The RSI indicator, so above 70 means overbought, potential reversal downward, below 30 means oversold. So where's my RSI? RSI, so short, let's go for the last 5 candles. So above 70 means overbought, below 70 means oversold. So it was around this point here. If I just circle it, we were around here, so we're working quite low down. RSI, where are you? Draw RSI. So that's the prototype. Price increase, total price decrease. We're looping through all the candles in the period. And then, where are we? And then we're simply plugging it into the formula. Calculate the average gain and the average loss. And there's the RS, which is used in the formula. And this is just adding the label, which you can see there. So 30, below 30 means oversold, which is probably accurate because we were down here and we were so low down. So if we try it again, we're nice and up high. We just have to change it. Relative strength index. So, oh, you cannot see it. I need to get one where it is positive, or a high figure, which should be about now. Oh, we've just started a reversal, but we're still nice and up high, because obviously because we're going from this big candle to this big candle. Overall, it's not actually been oversold or overbought, and we're just bang in the middle, which is why we get 52.5. So that works quite nicely. Standard deviation, that's simple. That's just your difference from the mean. So let's pull that up. Let's do the last 5. Sure. So the higher the standard deviation, further away you are from the mean. So I did the last 5 candles down here, and obviously we're very close together, so the standard deviation is very small. Whereas if I did, I don't want you, let's get these off. So if I wait for it with a big spike, which has just happened, the standard deviation will be bigger because the mean is a lot different. And if I even use it now, we should be even bigger. Oh, I just deleted it. Let's go again. I'll do the last 10. Oh, I think I might be too late. No, not quite. So we're fluctuating quite a lot within the last 10. So the last 10 go from there to there. So we're fluctuating quite a lot. We're going up, down, up, which is why the standard deviation is quite high. So there's that tool. Standard deviation, stochastic oscillator. So that's, again, it's using overbought, oversold, but it only does the last 14 candles. That's how it works. So if I just quickly show you how that works. So yeah, the last 14 candles, overbought, oversold. We've gone from all the way down here, like the market has plummeted here, and then we've just bought here. Suggests it's being overbought if, well, it's actually in the middle, but there's buying power when the next, here we go, we've got a massive upside. Sure, go away. Oh, they're on top of each other. I don't want that. Okay, let's try that again. Here we go. So loads of selling power down here. We've gone all the way down, and then we've started to buy again, suggesting that it was oversold, which is why we're almost at our 20. So if I just show you the code for that, if we go to the stochastic oscillator, oh, just there, perfect. So the period's 14 because there's 14 candles. That's how the formula works. And then you simply just plug it into the formula, and we're using our percentage K. Yeah, rounding it, truncate the number. Yeah, it's pretty simple. We're just using the formula, really. There's nothing too complicated there to test. And then the volume weighted average price, which is using integration. However, I did not actually need to use integration, as we already or I already have all the bounds that I need, like the top, the bottom, they're already defined in closing price, opening price. Okay, so here you go. So we all the way down here, wasn't very volatile. We've got 249 as our price. Now, if we swap it, let's just calculate the standard deviation. Sure. If we swap it during a volatile time, hopefully the number will be larger. Well, I mean, we could just do it now. It's going up and down a bit more. Let's wait. There you go. Now we're fluctuating. Not so much. Which is why we get a smaller price. So, if we move on now to... oh wait, I haven't shown you the VWAP class method even. So we're saying get the list. We want the price times the volume. Oh, that was it. So the volume was randomly generated. It was, yeah, we're going in there and it was a randomly generated variable, which is one of the problems with my thing. So even when it wasn't as volatile, we were getting much larger numbers because it's been randomly generated. But that was the only efficient way of using it, I guess. Yeah, this is the only one because you can't get the volume. Like, this isn't fluctuating. Well, it's fluctuating more than before, but that's irrespective. Yeah, so you can't really get volume without using live data, which is one of the setbacks of my program. So the VWAP doesn't work the best, but it still does take into account the total volume, the total price, which is taken using the closing price and opening price. So the last thing is almost at an hour. Okay, we're over an hour. Okay. The last thing is the trading functions, and then we're just going to play it. So, actually trading. So we click the live button, gives us a little prompt. So we're going to enter how much money we want. Let's go 6,000 because we have loads of money up here. 6,000, it takes it away straight away. Then it asks if we want a long or a short. So we want a long one. So let's go for a long one. So we adjust it. So we've got the long position. We can adjust it as we want. I want it like that. Okay? So we place it in the middle. We click the live again. Long trade unsuccessful. So that's because it reached the bottom wick here before it reached the top one here. So it was unsuccessful. Trade confirmed. Graph now unfrozen. This is locked in place. You cannot move this, or you can rescale it, but you cannot move it out of place. You can only rescale it because the trade's finished. So that works for the live one. And now if we go for the paper one, oh, I need to try the live one again, actually. Oh, there you go. So if I just do some boundary test or erroneous data, so if I do a question mark, it doesn't work. If I enter 4,500, doesn't work because we don't have that much in the live balance. So if I just do 2,000, and then we go for a long, short, so the price calculation actually works on the ratio. So I've changed the ratio slightly so that there's more green than red. Oh, it's unsuccessful. Okay, let's keep trying until we get a successful one on live. So I haven't changed the... oh, great. How about we go for shorts this time then? So short just reverses it. Here we go. Oh my days. This is going to take forever. Can you please just let me showcase a win? That is all I want. A win. There we go. So it's successful because the wick has broken through it here. The payout is 192 because I didn't change the ratios. So if the ratios changed, then the payout would be different. I'll show you that in the code in a second. But then the spread is calculated between 1 and 10 randomly, so that just removes it. And so it is added to the bottom here, the amount entered, the amount received. Our money's been added there. It's added to the trade log. That works perfectly. And now if we tried it with the paper, it's pretty much exactly the same. Let's go for a long one. Let's try adjust this so that we get a win, hopefully. Let's change that. Okay, well, it's just not going to let me get a win, is it? I need to show you that the payout is indeed different when you adjust the ratios. Well, this is just absolutely rubbish. How about we go all the way like this, so that we're bound to win. There you go. So we enter 200 and we get a really, really small amount because of the ratio. 400, there you go, because it's an eighth of the red zone. That's 1/8 of that. There you go. So that is my entire program. The freeze button works. You can add different tools on. The trend lines. You've got any tools you want to use and add, you can remove them. History log works. Balance updates. I think this is a pretty good project. Obviously the graph would have been nice to be able to remix it, and the buttons would have been nice if they work, but no one is perfect. What was I going to show you? I was going to show you the live... Oh, we don't want that there. The live spread calculation. So if we go to evaluate short trade outcome, so that's adding it to the trade record or the trade history log. That's just saying it's a successful trade. That's the ratio of green to red. Yeah, there you go. The ratio is just the green divided by red. Pretty simple. That's the payout. Yes, so if it's live, we're adding spread for the adjusted payout. If it's not, then there's just no spread. And then we're paying out the payout minus the spread, but obviously if it's paper, then there is no spread. So that's just 0 and the normal payout is given. And this is the exact same logic for a long trade. So that is my program testing. Thank you for sitting here for an hour and 12 minutes.